Let's be clear. Manipulators are masters of disguise. They don't need to raise their voice to control you. Their power lies in their words, subtle, sharp, and designed to break you down bit by bit. Have you ever questioned your own feelings because someone told you you were overreacting? Or felt trapped because they convinced you that no one else would put up with you? These phrases aren't random. They're calculated weapons to lower your self-esteem and keep you under their thumb. But here's the truth. Once you recognize these tactics, they lose their grip on you. Today, I'll walk you through the 10 most common phrases manipulators use to twist your mind and how to stand your ground. Don't miss the last one, because it might just be the one you've heard the most. So, are you ready to take back your power? Let's begin with the first phrase. You're overreacting. First, let's talk about the phrase, you're overreacting. How many times have you heard this when you expressed your feelings? It's a classic move. Manipulators use this line to make you feel like your emotions are too much, too intense, too irrational. And guess what? It works, because suddenly you start doubting yourself. Am I really making a big deal out of nothing? But here's the truth. Your emotions are valid. Feeling hurt, angry, or upset doesn't make you overly sensitive. It makes you human. This tactic, known as emotional invalidation, is designed to keep you quiet. If every time you speak up, someone tells you you're overreacting, eventually you stop speaking up altogether. And that's exactly what they want. Your silence gives them control. Imagine this. You've had a long, exhausting day, and a close friend cancels plans at the last minute again. Frustrated, you express your disappointment, only to hear, "Relax, it's not a big deal. You're overreacting." In that moment, your frustration is dismissed, and you're left questioning yourself. But here's where the Stoics offer wisdom. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your emotions are part of your mind. They are signals, not flaws. When someone tries to dismiss them, it says more about their unwillingness to understand than about your emotional state. So, how do you fight back? First, acknowledge your feelings privately. Say to yourself, "What I'm feeling is real and valid." Don't let anyone take that away from you. Manipulators thrive on making you second-guess yourself, but self-awareness is your shield. Next time someone tells you you're overreacting, try this. Calmly say, "I'm allowed to feel this way." Just because you don't understand it doesn't make it invalid. It's not about escalating conflict. It's about asserting your reality. Another strategy? Journal your emotions. Writing down what you feel and why helps you process and affirm your experience. Over time, you'll notice patterns. How often certain people dismiss your feelings and how it affects your well-being. This clarity is crucial. Remember, emotional invalidation isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes, it's the subtle eye roll when you share your excitement, the sarcastic, "Oh, here we go again," when you voice concerns. Recognizing these microaggressions is the first step to breaking free. And here's the kicker. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your feelings. Not every emotion needs to be justified or rationalized to others. The Stoics teach us that inner peace comes from focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, our actions, our responses. Letting go of the need for validation from those who dismiss your emotions is liberating. It's like shedding a heavy coat you've been wearing for too long. So let this be your reminder. Your emotions are not an overreaction. They are a reflection of your humanity. Stand by them. Let go of the need to prove your feelings are valid to those who refuse to see them. When you do, their words lose power. And that, my friend, is your first step to breaking free. Second, let's dive into the phrase, "No one else would put up with you." It's brutal, isn't it? When manipulators say this, they aim for your deepest insecurities. They want you to believe that you're lucky they tolerate you because, in their twisted narrative, no one else would. And once that seed is planted, it grows fast. You start wondering, what if they're right? What if I'm too much, too difficult, too flawed for anyone else to love or accept? But let me stop you right there. This is manipulation at its finest, and it's designed to break you down, not reflect reality. This phrase is a classic tool of emotional abuse, often used in toxic relationships, be it a partner, a friend, or even a family member. The goal? To isolate you. If they can convince you that they're your only option, they ensure you won't leave, no matter how poorly they treat you. But here's what you need to remember. Love, friendship, and respect are not acts of charity. No one is putting up with you. They're choosing to be in your life, and that choice should come from genuine care, not manipulation. Let's get real for a moment. Picture this. Sarah, a young woman full of dreams, finds herself in a relationship where every disagreement ends with her partner saying, "No one else would ever deal with your drama." Over time, Sarah stops voicing her opinions, her needs, her wants. She becomes a shadow of herself because she's terrified of being alone. But is that really love? It's control. Sarah's story isn't unique. So many people find themselves trapped in similar situations. And the scariest part? They believe it's normal. But here's where Stoic philosophy offers a beacon of hope. Epictetus once said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." Manipulators do the opposite. They drag you down, make you feel small, and thrive on your self-doubt. So how do you break free? First, recognize that this phrase is a lie. You are not a burden. You have worth, and your imperfections don't make you unlovable. They make you human. Start by surrounding yourself with people who see your value, not your flaws. Seek out relationships where you feel safe to be yourself, where your quirks are embraced, not weaponized against you. And if you're in a situation where someone constantly tells you that no one else would put up with you, ask yourself this: is this love or is this control? Love liberates. Control suffocates. It's also crucial to build your own sense of self-worth. Take time to reflect on what makes you you. What are your strengths? What are the things you bring to the table in any relationship? Write them down, say them out loud, and believe them. Stoicism teaches us that our value doesn't depend on others' opinions. You are enough, not because someone tolerates you, but because you exist, grow, and strive. Here's the hard truth. Leaving a manipulative relationship is never easy. But staying because you believe you have no other choice? That's the lie they want you to buy into. The moment you realize that you deserve better, that your happiness isn't tied to someone's approval, is the moment you start reclaiming your power. So, let go of the belief that no one else will accept you. Because the truth, plenty of people will. But most importantly, you need to accept yourself first. That's your shield against manipulation. That's your path to freedom. Third, let's break down one of the most damaging phrases manipulators use. "I never said that." Have you ever been absolutely sure someone said something hurtful or dismissive, only for them to deny it later? It's maddening. Suddenly you're second-guessing yourself, wondering if your memory is playing tricks on you. This, my friend, is gaslighting, a psychological manipulation tactic designed to make you doubt your own reality. Gaslighting is insidious because it chips away at your confidence bit by bit. Imagine this. You confront someone about a hurtful comment they made, and their response is, "I never said that. You must be imagining things." At first you push back, but when they insist, you start to wonder, maybe I did get it wrong. Over time, this constant denial messes with your mind. You begin to question not just your memory, but your judgment, your feelings, even your sanity. Let's put this into perspective. John, a hard-working professional, often found himself in arguments with his boss, who would say harsh things during meetings. But when John brought it up later, his boss would calmly say, "I never said that, John. Are you sure you're not overthinking?" At first, John felt frustrated, but soon he started doubting himself. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I'm just too sensitive. That self-doubt began to affect his work, his confidence, even his mental health. The Stoics, known for their profound wisdom, offer a way out of this mental maze. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth." Notice that? Stoicism encourages openness to truth, not manipulation of it. Gaslighting thrives on falsehood, but the Stoic approach is grounded in self-awareness and clarity. So, how do you fight back against gaslighting? First, trust yourself. Your memories, feelings, and experiences are valid. Keep a record if you have to. Write down conversations or incidents that made you uncomfortable. This isn't about holding grudges. It's about having a clear reference when someone tries to rewrite history. Second, don't engage in endless arguments trying to prove you're right. Manipulators want to exhaust you. Instead, calmly say, "I remember it differently and that matters to me." You don't need their acknowledgement to validate your reality. Your truth stands on its own. And here's another Stoic gem from Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Gaslighting is painful, no doubt, but your response to it can be your strength. Build a support system, friends, family, or even a therapist who can help you stay grounded in your truth. When you surround yourself with people who validate your experiences, the manipulator's grip weakens. Also, practice mindfulness. Reflect daily on your thoughts and feelings. The more in tune you are with your mind, the harder it is for someone to shake your reality. Meditation, journaling, or even quiet reflection can anchor you. Remember this: manipulators want you to question yourself because self-doubt makes you easier to control. But when you trust your own mind, you become untouchable. Let go of the doubt they try to plant in you. Your memories, your feelings, your reality, they are yours. Own them. Fourth, let's confront another toxic phrase manipulators love to use. It's your fault this happened. This one hits hard, doesn't it? You find yourself in a difficult situation, and instead of offering support, the manipulator shifts all the blame onto you. Suddenly, you're not only dealing with the problem itself, but also drowning in guilt for something that might not even be your fault. This tactic is known as blame shifting, and it's one of the most destructive forms of emotional manipulation. Think about it. Have you ever been blamed for someone else's bad mood, their mistakes, or even their failures? You spill a glass of water at dinner, and instead of a simple, "It's okay," you hear, "If you weren't so careless, this wouldn't have happened." Or worse, your partner cheats, and somehow they twist the story to make you feel like it was your fault because you weren't attentive enough. Over time, you start believing that everything that goes wrong is somehow tied to you, and that guilt becomes a heavy burden you carry everywhere. Let's imagine a scenario. Emily, a dedicated project manager, worked tirelessly to meet deadlines, but every time a project faced setbacks, her boss would say, "If you had planned better, we wouldn't be in this mess." Even when the issues were beyond her control, like suppliers failing to deliver on time, Emily felt responsible. She stayed late, worked harder, and yet, no matter what she did, the blame kept coming. Eventually, Emily's confidence eroded. She felt inadequate, always trying to prevent the next blame storm. But here's where Stoicism steps in with clarity and strength. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." When manipulators blame you, they create an imagined reality where everything is your fault. But Stoicism teaches us to separate what we can control from what we can't. And guess what? You can't control other people's actions or mistakes. You can only control your response to them. So, how do you break free from this blame game? First, assess the situation objectively. When someone blames you, ask yourself, is this really my responsibility? If it's not, don't own it. It's okay to say, "I understand you're upset, but this isn't something I caused." You don't need to apologize for things that aren't your fault. Next, set boundaries. Manipulators love pushing blame onto those who accept it. When you start saying, "That's not on me," you disrupt their pattern. Yes, they might push harder at first, but over time, they'll realize that you're no longer an easy target. Another Stoic principle from Epictetus reminds us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Don't let someone else's blame enslave your mind. Practice self-reflection daily. Journaling can be a powerful tool. Write down moments when you felt unfairly blamed and analyze them. This helps you see patterns and reinforces your awareness. Also, surround yourself with people who respect you. When you have a strong support system, you gain perspective. They remind you of your worth when manipulators try to tear you down. And remember, no one has the right to make you feel guilty for things beyond your control. Letting go of misplaced guilt is not just freeing, it's essential. The weight of unjust blame can crush your spirit, but recognizing it for what it is gives you the power to rise above it. Don't carry burdens that aren't yours. Let go. You deserve peace. Fifth, let's talk about a phrase that cuts deep. You're too sensitive. Have you ever opened up about something that hurt you, only to be told you're overreacting because you're too sensitive? This phrase isn't just dismissive, it's designed to make you feel ashamed of your emotions, as if caring deeply is a flaw. But let me tell you something, sensitivity isn't weakness. It's a sign that you feel, connect, and care. Manipulators, however, use this phrase to make you question your emotional responses and, ultimately, to keep you quiet. Let's break it down. Imagine you share with a friend that their comment about your career choices felt hurtful. Instead of listening, they laugh and say, "Oh, come on, you're too sensitive." In that moment, your feelings are invalidated, and you're left wondering if maybe, just maybe, you are overreacting. This is how manipulators operate. They belittle your emotions to maintain control. Over time, you start suppressing your feelings, afraid that expressing them will label you as too sensitive. Take, for example, Alex, an artist who poured his heart into every piece he created. His partner often made sarcastic remarks about his work, calling it just a hobby. When Alex expressed how much those comments hurt, his partner would roll their eyes and say, "You're too sensitive, it was just a joke." Slowly, Alex began to doubt his talent and passion. He stopped sharing his work and even considered giving up art altogether. Why? because he believed that his emotional responses were wrong. But here's where Stoicism offers a powerful lesson. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic emperor, once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Manipulators try to poison your thoughts, making you believe that feeling deeply is a defect." Stoicism, however, teaches us to embrace our inner world and find strength in self-awareness. So, how do you handle this manipulation? First, accept that your sensitivity is not a flaw, it's a gift. Being sensitive means you're attuned to your emotions and the world around you. When someone calls you too sensitive, respond calmly with, "I have the right to feel this way." You don't need to defend your emotions. They're valid simply because they exist. Second, practice emotional resilience. Stoics believed in the power of mindfulness and self-reflection. Each day, take time to reflect on your emotions without judgment. When you feel hurt or upset, ask yourself, "Why do I feel this way? What triggered this emotion?" Understanding your feelings helps you stand firm when someone tries to dismiss them. Another crucial step is setting emotional boundaries. If someone repeatedly belittles your feelings, it's okay to distance yourself. You don't need to subject yourself to constant emotional invalidation. Surround yourself with people who respect your emotions, not those who mock them. Also, practice affirmations. Remind yourself daily, "My emotions are valid. My sensitivity is my strength." The more you affirm your emotional worth, the harder it becomes for manipulators to shake you. And remember this Stoic principle from Seneca: he who is brave is free. Courage isn't just about facing external challenges, it's also about defending your inner self. Be brave enough to feel deeply, even when the world tells you not to. Let go of the belief that your sensitivity is a weakness. It's not. It's your superpower. Sixth, let's address a phrase manipulators often use to trap you. "I'm the only one who really cares about you." On the surface, it might sound like affection, but don't be fooled. This phrase is designed to isolate you from others, making you believe that without them, you'd be completely alone. It's not love, it's control wrapped in false concern. Here's the danger. When you hear this enough, you start believing it. You pull away from friends, avoid family, and suddenly your world shrinks to just them. And that's exactly what they want, because the smaller your world, the bigger their influence over you becomes. Think about this scenario. Lisa, a college student, was always surrounded by friends. But when she started dating someone new, things changed. Every time she made plans with her friends, her partner would say, "Why do you need them? I'm the only one who really cares about you." Slowly, Lisa cancelled plans, ignored calls, and isolated herself. Over time, she felt dependent on her partner for emotional support, not realizing she had been manipulated into cutting ties with everyone else. The Stoics have a clear stance on relationships and control. Epictetus taught, "He who is free from others, but also free from himself." True freedom means not being bound by someone else's manipulation or your own self-doubt. Love and care are meant to uplift, not confine. So, how do you break free from this emotional trap? First, recognize the red flag. Real love encourages connections, not isolation. When someone tries to convince you that they're the only one who cares, ask yourself, why would someone who loves me want me to be alone? The answer is simple. They don't want love, they want control. Second, reach out. Reconnect with the people you've distanced yourself from. Yes, it might feel awkward at first, but true friends will understand. Let them know what you've been going through. Sometimes just hearing someone say, "I've missed you," is enough to remind you that you're not alone. Also, build your inner circle. Find people who respect your boundaries and support your growth. Whether it's joining a club, attending social events, or even connecting with like-minded individuals online, expanding your circle reduces the manipulator's grip. Practice self-reliance, a core Stoic principle. Spend time alone, not in isolation, but in self-reflection. Journal your thoughts, meditate, or take solo walks. The more comfortable you become with yourself, the less you'll feel dependent on someone else for emotional fulfillment. Another vital step: set boundaries. When someone tries to guilt you into isolation, firmly say, "I value my relationships with others, and no one has the right to take that from me." You don't owe them an explanation. Your life is yours to live, not theirs to control. And remember this: manipulators thrive on your isolation, but the moment you step out of their shadow, their power fades. Let go of the belief that you need one person's approval to feel loved. Real love is abundant, not scarce. You are not alone. You never were. Sometimes you just need to look beyond the cage someone built for you to see it. Seventh, let's break down a phrase manipulators often hide behind. "I was just joking. Don't take it so seriously." This one is tricky because it's disguised as humor, but its impact, far from funny. When manipulators say something hurtful and then brush it off as a joke, they're doing two things. They're minimizing your feelings and avoiding accountability. And here's the kicker: they make you feel like the problem for reacting. Picture this. You share a personal goal with someone, like wanting to start a business or change careers, and they respond with, "Oh, that's cute. You, running a business? Relax, I'm just joking." It stings, right? But when you express that hurt, they flip it on you with, "Wow, can't you take a joke?" Suddenly, you're not only hurt, but also labeled as overly sensitive or uptight. Let's consider Jason, an aspiring writer. Every time he shared his work, his best friend would say, "Look at Hemingway over here. What's next? A Nobel Prize? Relax, I'm just joking." Jason started questioning his talent. Was he really good enough? Was his dream ridiculous? Over time, those jokes made him hesitant to write at all. But Stoicism, with its timeless wisdom, offers clarity here. Seneca reminds us, "What you think of yourself is much more important than what others think of you." Manipulators use humor as a shield to avoid responsibility, but you don't have to let it undermine your self-worth. So, how do you handle this? First, trust your feelings. If a joke feels hurtful, it probably is. Just because someone labels it as humor doesn't mean it's harmless. Acknowledge that your feelings are valid, even if they try to convince you otherwise. Next, address it directly. Calmly say, "That joke felt hurtful. I'd appreciate it if you didn't say things like that." You don't need to argue or justify. State your boundary and move on. If they care, they'll respect it. If they don't, well, that speaks volumes. Also, don't internalize their sarcasm. Build a strong sense of self that doesn't waver based on someone's mocking tone. Reflect daily on your strengths. Write down your achievements, big or small. The more you reinforce your value internally, the less external jabs will affect you. Remember, humor is meant to bring joy, not pain. When someone repeatedly disguises insults as jokes, it's not about humor, it's about control. Don't let them get away with it. Let go of the need to laugh along just to keep the peace. Your peace matters more, and as Marcus Aurelius taught, the opinion of others matters only if you allow it to. Don't allow someone's so-called jokes to shape how you see yourself. Eighth, Let's confront a manipulative phrase that plays directly with your emotions. If you loved me, you would. This is emotional blackmail at its finest. It's a loaded statement designed to make you feel guilty, cornered, and obligated to do something you might not want to do, all in the name of love. But let's be clear, love is not a bargaining chip, and anyone who uses it as one is manipulating you, not loving you. Think about it. How many times have you heard something like this? If you loved me, you'd cancel your plans and stay with me. Or worse, if you really cared, you'd do this for me, no questions asked. It creates a false choice. Prove your love by giving in, or risk being seen as uncaring. And that, my friend, is not love, that's control. Let's take Emma's story. She was in a relationship where her partner constantly used this phrase. When Emma wanted to spend time with her friends, she'd hear, "If you loved me, you wouldn't need anyone else." When she pursued her passion for photography, her partner would say, "If you cared about us, you'd focus more on our relationship than your hobby." Over time, Emma's world shrank. She abandoned her passions, distanced herself from friends, and lived in constant fear of being labeled as someone who didn't love enough. But here's the truth Emma realized later. Love doesn't demand proof through sacrifice. It nurtures, respects, and supports. Stoicism offers a liberating perspective here. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." Manipulators use love as a tool to control your actions. But love, real love, respects your freedom, not chains you with guilt. So, how do you break free from this emotional blackmail? First, recognize it for what it is. Love should never feel like a transaction. When someone says, "If you loved me, you would," pause and ask yourself, is this love or manipulation? If it feels like coercion, trust your gut. Next, communicate your boundaries clearly. Say, "Love isn't about proving it through actions that make me uncomfortable. It's about mutual respect." You don't owe anyone constant proof of your love, especially when it comes at the cost of your own well-being. Also, remind yourself of the Stoic principle of self-ownership. Marcus Aurelius taught that our actions must align with our values, not someone else's demands. Reflect on what matters to you. Write down your boundaries and revisit them often. The more grounded you are in your own values, the harder it becomes for others to manipulate you. And here's a crucial point. Don't let guilt cloud your judgment. Manipulators thrive on making you feel guilty. When you set a boundary and guilt creeps in, remind yourself, "I'm not responsible for someone else's emotional manipulation. Your well-being matters too." Let go of relationships that demand constant sacrifice as proof of love. Real love doesn't ask you to shrink yourself. It allows you to grow. As Seneca wisely said, "He who is brave is free." Be brave enough to say no to emotional blackmail. Choose freedom. Choose self-respect. Ninth, let's tackle a phrase that preys on your fear of loneliness. "You'll never find someone like me." At first glance, it might sound like confidence or even a compliment to themselves, but don't be fooled. This phrase is crafted to make you feel trapped. It's not about their uniqueness. It's about making you believe that without them, you'll be lost, lonely, and incomplete. Manipulators use this phrase as a final hook. They want you to think they are irreplaceable, that no one else could ever love you, understand you, or tolerate you like they do. And that's terrifying, isn't it? The idea that walking away means walking into solitude. But let me ask you this. Is staying in a toxic relationship out of fear of being alone truly living? Take the story of David, a musician who found himself in a controlling relationship. Every time he considered leaving, his partner would say, "Go ahead, but you'll never find someone like me." David feared that maybe they were right. Maybe no one else would understand his passion for music or his quirks. So he stayed, longer than he should have, feeling more isolated with each passing day. It wasn't until David realized that being alone was far better than being in constant emotional turmoil that he found the courage to leave. And guess what? He found peace, happiness, and yes, people who truly appreciated him. Here's where Stoicism brings clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Fear of loneliness is a thought, not a reality. Manipulators plant that fear in your mind, but you have the power to uproot it. So, how do you let go of this fear? First, remind yourself that solitude is not the enemy. The Stoics believed in the power of self-sufficiency. Spend time alone to rediscover yourself. What do you love? What are your dreams? When you're comfortable with your own company, the fear of being alone loses its grip. Second, challenge the idea that you won't find someone else. Truth is, you don't need someone like them. You need someone who respects, values, and supports you. And they exist. But even more importantly, you exist, and your worth isn't tied to someone else's presence. Another practical step: build a fulfilling life outside of relationships. Pursue hobbies, strengthen friendships, and invest in personal growth. The more enriched your life is, the less you'll feel dependent on any one person for happiness. And remember the words of Epictetus: wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Don't let your want for companionship cloud your judgment. Sometimes walking away is the greatest act of self-love. Let go of the belief that you'll never find someone else. Because you will. But even if you don't right away, you'll still have yourself. And that's more than enough. 10th, let's unpack one of the most manipulative phrases of all. Everyone agrees with me, not you. This is a classic attempt to isolate you further, making you feel like you're standing alone against a crowd. Manipulators use this tactic to invalidate your perspective by making you believe that not only do they disagree with you, but that an entire group, real or imaginary, is on their side. And that can be crushing. This phrase isn't just about disagreement. It's about making you feel outnumbered, unsupported, and ultimately wrong. It plants seeds of doubt. If everyone agrees with them, maybe I'm the problem. But here's the truth. Most of the time there is no everyone. It's a fabrication, a psychological trick to break your spirit and make you question your judgment. Imagine Sophia, a young entrepreneur trying to build her dream business. Whenever she had an idea, her business partner would say, "Everyone thinks your ideas are unrealistic." Over time, Sophia stopped sharing her thoughts, convinced that the everyone her partner mentioned truly existed. But when she finally mustered the courage to ask around, she realized no one had said anything of the sort. It was all manipulation. The Stoics offer a powerful reminder here. Epictetus said, "It is not what others say about you that matters, but what you say to yourself." When someone tries to pit the world against you, remember that the most important voice is your own. So, how do you resist this manipulation? First, question the claim. If someone says, "Everyone agrees with me," calmly ask, "Who exactly?" Often they'll stumble because their everyone is nothing more than smoke and mirrors. Second, trust your judgment. Marcus Aurelius believed that inner strength comes from self-awareness. Reflect on your decisions and stand by them. Just because someone claims the world is against you doesn't mean it's true. Another key step: build your own network of support. Surround yourself with people who encourage you, not tear you down. When you have real connections, the manipulators' false claims lose their power. And most importantly, don't let the fear of isolation sway you. Seneca said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." True support uplifts, manipulation suffocates. Let go of the belief that you stand alone. Even if the world disagrees, your truth matters. Stand tall, even when they try to make you feel small. Psychological manipulators thrive on control, but here's the good news. Once you recognize their tactics, you take back your power. Every phrase they use is a tool to weaken you, but your strength lies in awareness, self-reflection, and boundaries. Remember the Stoic wisdom: no man is free who is not master of himself. Be the master of your mind, your emotions, and your life. Let go of their manipulation, and you'll find a freedom they can't touch. If this episode resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated with more content on mastering your mind and embracing Stoic wisdom. You've got this, and I'll see you in the next episode.